Welcome to another edition of Smoke and Fire. So today we're doing a barbecue staple. We're going to smoke some baby back ribs. And we're going to do so using a simple, what's called the 2-2-1 method. And what that means is you cook things in three phases. The first 2 hours are going to be spent on the smoker, letting the ribs bring in that smoky goodness and add some great flavor to it. The next 2 hours, we wrap them up, add some moisture, add some different layers of flavor to it. And then the last hour, we take it out of the wrap and put on the smoker with some barbecue sauce. And really let that last layer of flavor kick in, let that sauce caramelize, and add the final touches to it. You may have heard of the 3-2-1 method. That's really with spare ribs. We smoke them for 3 hours as opposed to 2. With baby backs, they don't need to smoke as long. So we can use the 2-2-1 method. And this is kind of a building block. The more you do it, the more you can tweak that. Really, you want to cook more to tenderness and to color when you're doing ribs. But this is a good starting point. So start with the 2-2-1 method and then kind of make it your own. Add your own little twist to it. You're going to find that the more you do. So let's get started. Okay, so here we have our slab of baby back ribs. The silver has been removed, it's been trimmed, so we're ready to go with our seasoning. The first step when we're seasoning is to include a binder. What the binder does is it helps the rub stick to the meat and lets those two elements combine. You can use a variety of things. I personally like to use Dijon mustard. A lot of people use yellow mustard, a lot of people use vegetable oil, peanut oil, some of the common ones. But I really like the Dijon, because actually I've had people comment on being able to taste the Dijon in the ribs when I use it, which most binders don't really affect the flavor of it. But you can use what you want. What you just want to do is give a good layer on both sides of the ribs. And we'll spread it, and we'll kind of spread it out a little bit. Make sure it's all covered here on the back. Flip them over, get both sides. Do the same thing on the meat side here. Get a couple good squeezes. And then we'll come with our rub. And the rub I like to use is the Killer Hogs Barbecue Rub. That's one of my favorites. But you can use anything. This is your chance to really put your flavor profile into it. You can use a hot rub. You can use use a homemade rub. So this is your chance to really add in your flavor, what you like. And we're going to hit both sides with that. So we'll flip it over to the back here. And I always like to finish with the meaty side, because that's really the side that everyone's going to see. That's where most of the flavor happens. So I want that to be undisturbed. So put a good coating on the back. Flip it over. Good coating on the top here. And I like to make sure all parts are covered. Now we have a good set. Now we're going to let that sit for about 45 minutes to an hour. We'll really let that meat and those seasonings mix together, add some great flavor to it. We'll come back over at that point. If there's any low spots, any spots that need more seasoning, we'll hit it then. And then they'll go on. And this just gives us a chance to get our smoker going and start the first stage of our cook. Alright, so our ribs are ready. That meat and that spices have really mixed together really good. Our smoker's up to temperature. We're going to smoke it at 250 degrees here on the Traeger. I'm using cherry wood pellets. These on. Set our timer for 2 hours. That wood will stay on. fast forward about 2 hours into the cook, and stage 1 is complete. So if we take a look at our ribs, we can see we get a nice mahogany red color there. Some good coloring, got some juices going, and now it's time to pull them off and get on to stage 2. Okay, so stage 2 involves wrapping the ribs and then adding some other flavors. Wrapping helps tenderize the ribs and adds an extra layer of flavoring in. I already took a lot of smoke, so we don't want to over smoke it. So we have our aluminum foil set up here, and within that I usually do some brown sugar, some butter, and then some sort of liquid. Sometimes I do apple juice, sometimes I do apple cider. Today I'm feeling a little saucy, so I'm going to do some hard apple cider in this wrap. So I have some brown sugar and some butter laid out here, or butter, squeezed margarine. So we're going to set our ribs on that. And I usually like to go bone side up here. Just do a couple of things. That's going to act as a cup, so the more I put on top, it's going to help insulate that there and hold everything in. And then also it doesn't push the bones through the wrap. So I'm going to set that on our butter and brown sugar. We go some more on top here. And you don't need a whole lot. Just add a little bit of sweetness to it. And that part's clumping up. And then we'll add a little bit more squeezed margarine. And it's always good to let your margarine sit out at room temperature. It's going to be easier to squeeze. See, this bottle is coming about down to the end, but it lasts a little bit longer if it's at a warmer temperature. So we have that, and then we'll start to wrap them up here. And once I get a good funnel here going, that's when I'll pour into my liquid. Get it going. I have a little bit of a rip on that side, so what I'm going to do is get my foil pan. And put it in there, just so I don't lose any extra liquid. And then we'll pour a few ounces of our hard apple cider in. That's also going to help melt the brown sugar, so you don't want that to clump up. So we'll get these wrapped up and put them back on the smoker and go for another 2 hours. And then we'll get ready for stage 3. Okay, so now phase 2 is complete. We unwrapped the ribs, and they're looking real nice. Got a good red color. So now it's time for the final stage, and that involves saucing them and then putting them back on for about an hour. So I have my sauce here in a squeeze bottle. I find that's the easiest way to use it. I just going to give it a good coating. And you use any sauce that you want, any of your favorite sauces. Again, it's another chance to really put your own individual touch on the ribs and make them your own. So I get a good coating on, and then I just go over it with my brush and just kind of dab it a little bit just to even it out. Give it a good coating, and then avoids the brush marks as well, so you don't have brush marks across your ribs. And just make sure all sides of the top here are covered in sauce. then we'll put them back on. Okay, one more thing I want to point out now that the ribs are on to stage 3 is this is the leftover liquid from our wrapping phase. And you see along the edges, you see that lighter fluid. That's actually the fat that rendered off the ribs. And that's one of the advantages. It gets rid of that extra fat and really adds a lot of flavor left over to it. So that's what you should see in your foil when you're done with stage 3 or stage 2. Alright, so our timer went off. It looks like our ribs are done. So let me go pull them and we'll take a closer look. Okay, so these are our ribs at the end of our 2-2-1 cycle. You see there's some nice coloring onto them. Once I pull away a little bit, those are both signs that they're done. So let's go ahead and get these trimmed and take a look at the inside. So you see the red ring inside there is a good smoke ring. That's what you're looking for. So hopefully these turned out good. So that's how you smoke ribs using the 2-2-1 method.